G'day everybody, and thank you for watching Stream Trout Basics, my first longer YouTube video where I aim to teach newcomers to the fantastic sport of trout fishing how to get the most out of their trout streams when they go fishing. I'm going to be teaching you all about stream craft, giving some tips and tricks, and hopefully by the time you finish watching this video you will be armed with information ready to go out, hit your favourite small stream and go out and catch some trout. Rightio folks, now the first and probably most important rule to trout stream fishing is to always walk upstream or wade upstream if you happen to be in the water. The reason for this is because the trout will almost always sit in the streams facing upstream so that the water is flowing toward them and they can then see all the food floating down. Whether it's worms after the rain, whether it's crickets in their season or grasshoppers in season, or even a wounded bird or a wounded mouse or something like that, in the flowing water the trout will almost always face upstream. Now, they won't always face upstream when they're swimming. Obviously they want to move up and down the current, so they'll move back down and around. A lot of the time those fish that are moving back down have just fed or aren't feeding for whatever reason, but they may come after your lure. But basic rule of thumb, and it's the golden rule, is that they always face upstream. So you need to start downstream and work your way upstream and walk up behind them so that they don't see you coming. Now bear in mind that just like so many other animals at the bottom of the food chain, whether it be a mouse, a rabbit or a fish, their eyes, unlike us predators, including humans, their eyes are on the top of their heads. Predators like us, we face forwards. Foxes, cats, predator animals have eyes that face forward, enabling them to hunt. But the hunted animals, such as the fish, the rabbits, the mice, they have eyes that are more at the top of their head so that they can see things coming from behind them. And that is why you should always fish from as far back as possible. So the basic thing to remember is to always walk upstream or wade upstream, depending whether you're in the water or on the bank, it's the same thing. If you're in the water they call it wading, and if you're on the bank they call it walking. But always walk or wade upstream, cast upstream like I am now. I'm casting up into the current and I'm pulling that down past any fish that may be feeding and looking upstream. They will then see the spinner more easily. If there's a trout, just hypothetically there's a trout sitting in front of those trees, just say, if I cast there, he's not going to see that. He's not going to see it because it's behind him. So if I cast up above him, oops, someone nearly went into the tree. Even if it's to the side like that, it doesn't matter. If I cast upstream and he sees that lure coming, he's more likely to get caught. And remember folks, as I said, the further back that you can cast upstream from, the less chance you've got of the fish seeing you. And if you want to take that stealth to another level, make sure you wear dark clothing. I've got camouflage long pants on and just a dull coloured shirt here. Nothing too fancy, just nice and dark, just to blend in with these dark surroundings a bit better. So I'm walking up from the back, I'm dressed dark, and I'm making the longest cast that I can make, which isn't always possible. That's the first and most important rule to stream fishing for trout. Always work your way upstream and cast up ahead and retrieve the lure with the current. Got him. Did you see that? It's only a little fish. I'm wetting my hand, and that's something else I'll go into a bit later on. I have wet my hand. Come here, little buddy. I've wet my hand. He's a nice little brown trout. He's not big, but I have caught him by working my way upstream and casting from behind. And I've just thrown him back because I wanted to get him back in the water as quick as I could. And there he goes. Now, fish handling is very important. Where possible, you should always wet your hand before you hold the fish because the fish has a protective slime on the outside of it. I want to put emphasis on the words where possible. That's not always possible. I got a little bit of constructive criticism during the week. It was a good criticism and the people were fair to say what they said. They weren't bad people, they meant well. That I should wet my hands. Now, a lot of the time you don't see it in my video because I'll reach down, wet my hands, and you don't even notice I'm doing it. I usually do. But there are times where I don't. Hypothetically, let's say this water's 2 feet deeper than what it is, and I'm standing on that tree and I can't get down into the water. I've climbed in off that high bank and I've caught a fish and I can't get down. I'm not going to jump into deep water where I can't see the bottom and it's cold and risk my life for the sake of a fish. And I'm also not going to spend $35 or $40 on petrol coming up here to go fishing and then not make a cast in case I catch a fish. That's just stupid talk. But where possible, you should always wet your hand before releasing the fish, and 9 times out of 10 I do, but there are times where my personal safety is held in a higher regard than the safety of the fish. See, what happens, the fish has a protective slime, a bit like we have an immune system. If we get cold, we don't necessarily catch a cold. But if we get cold, our immune system lowers, and then if we go near somebody that's got a cold, then we might catch the cold because we're vulnerable because our immune system is lowered. With the fish, if they go near another fish that's got some kind of fungal infection, and fish do get infections, the protective slime should protect that. If we damage that protective slime, we lower their guard and make them more vulnerable to catching the infection off that other infected fish. Now, if I hold the fish with a dry hand and throw it back, it doesn't always mean it's going to get an infection. It has to go near another fish that's got an infection first. Now, I fish this creek all the time. In fact, I've probably fished it 8 or 9 times this season already in the last 8 weeks, and there's no dead fish. I would have caught probably 50 to 80 fish here this season, and there's no dead trout in the stream. I must be doing something right. So basically, where possible, you should always wet your hand, but don't put your own safety first because it's not absolutely critical. Also, you will have noticed with that fish I just caught, I threw him back from a slightly higher, well, probably about 60 centimetres off the ground. I unhooked him and threw him back. The reason I done it that time was because he was hooked a bit deep, he was suffering a bit, so I wanted to get him back in the water as quickly as possible. Now, people say you shouldn't throw him back, you're meant to wrench down and swim him because they have a build-up of lactic acid in their system, and that is perfectly true. But once again, it is not absolutely critical, and sometimes it's not feasible. Once again, if I'm standing up on there and I do catch a fish, I can't bend over and release it if the water's high and cold. Now I can see the bottom and the water's gone down. 3 weeks ago I wouldn't have been able to. So I just throw it back. And something to remember, dropping fish from a height, particularly trout, isn't going to do them too much damage. At the moment, fishermen are catching trout up to 10 pound below Lake Hume. Those fish weren't there a few months ago. They have gone over that massive big spillway and ended up down the bottom, and they've all survived. Isn't that amazing? These fish swim over waterfalls. That trout that I just threw back in from 60 centimetres off the water, they'll often jump higher than that when they've got the hook in their mouth. So don't be such a doomsayer. Just understand, where possible, because they've got that lactic acid build up after you've caught them, it's always a good idea to release them really quickly. The lactic acid gets built up during the fight, and with a little fish like that, there really wasn't a fight. Let's face it, the fish was 4 inches long. I caught it, I winched it in with my reel and unhooked it and threw it back. That fish is going to be fine. If it was a 2 pound fish and it swam up and down and had a big fight and it was under a lot of stress, then that's different. That's where it's more important to swim the fish backwards and forwards, just help them recover before letting them go. So folks, the moral to this story, try and look after your fish. Don't sacrifice your own safety, it's not that important, but where possible, always wet your hand like I just did, and if you've got a big fish on that's had a big fight, try and swim it before you release it. Now here's a tip. This is a nice big open hole. It's shallow in the middle, it's reasonably deep down here, and it's quite deep up the front, I can see. So rather than just casting all the way to the top of the hole, catching a fish and spooking everything, I'm going to make a couple of casts down along the back here. If I catch a fish here now, I won't spook the rest of the hole. Now, I didn't catch a fish. I have a couple of casts and I'll continue just working my way up. Right, I'm a bit closer now, so I can start again. Once again, still not going to go to the top of the hole. I'm right out in the middle of the hole there now. Gee whiz, oh, I had a hit, got him. Look at that now. I've caught this little fish. It was a nice fish. Oh, I lost him. He was quite a nice trout. He was a good, probably 35 centimetres. Bugger, bugger, bugger. But I hooked him in the middle of the hole. So I haven't spooked the entire pool. He was a really nice trout. That's very disappointing, but as they say, that's fishing. Here he comes again, got him. This time I'm not going to lose him. He's the same fish. He's come back for seconds. I dare say he's the same fish anyway. Now remember what I said. I'm in a good position here to be able to get down into the creek and wet my hands. Now because he's a bit bigger, I can also support his stomach when I land him. I don't have to, you see that I've wet my hands, I'm supporting his stomach and I'm pulling him out, and here's a nice brown trout. Here's a lovely fish. In fact, I might get my waterproof camera out of my pocket and get a little bit of footage of him swimming away. Because I wasn't standing on a high log or a high rock, the opportunity was there for me to practice the best possible fish handling, and that is to get down and get in, wet my hand and support the fish by his stomach. Now, let's record the swim off. Rightio fishy. Rightio brown trout. Off you go. I don't quite think that went as planned because he had other ideas. Rightio fishing. Rightio brown trout. I don't quite think that went as planned because he had other ideas. I'm still fishing in the same pool here. I haven't moved on yet. That nice brown trout that I just caught came out of there, out in the centre of the pool and right out in the open. This isn't perfect, but it's the only real way I can fish this creek, this top end of this hole, sorry, is to cast in from way up here. I can actually see an enormous big European carp in the hole here at the moment. I'm thinking about putting a soft plastic on and having a go at him. I have caught carp on bladed spinners before, but it's not common. Oh, look, got him! A nice trout! Look at that. There's a nice trout. I was busy watching this big carp. There he goes. See the big carps from out there? Now, I'm really glad I caught that fish, because that highlights to me what I was just saying about fishing the one hole and only casting halfway up. Had I cast straight to the top of the hole before, I may have caught this really nice brown trout first and then not got that other one, because he would have been spooked by me catching this one. Now I'm wetting my hands. I'm going to land him by supporting his stomach. Look at that. What a beautiful brown trout of around probably 35 centimetres, 33, 34 centimetres. He's swallowed the hooks a little bit low for my liking, so I'm going to try and get that out as quick as I can. Now, I'm going to try and get a bit of video footage because I think I stuffed the last one up. Oh man, I'll just put him back. There you go, buddy. He took off. He took off really quickly. He took the lure a bit deeper than I would have liked. Unfortunately, I can't control that. That is a part of fishing. So what I do, I get it out as quick as I can and I put him back. So just to recap, I've slowly worked my way through this hole. I've caught a fish in the middle, which hasn't disturbed the top section. It's only disturbed from the middle down. I've then come to the top end of the hole and caught another fish. So I've caught two really nice brown trout, both in the low 30 centimetre sizes in this one hole. And that's how you catch two in one hole, by working your way up and not just casting to the top of the hole into the sweet spot straight away. Got him, yeah baby, out of that really fast water. Look at him jump. Did you see how high that, oh, he got off. I hope the camera caught that fish jumping. He jumped about 80 centimetres out of the water then. Now I get told that I shouldn't throw fish back. I should reach them in because I damage them when I just drop them back in the water. That fish jumped higher than the fish that I normally drop. And he done it of his own accord. And I was retrieving that spinner at breakneck speed then to keep up with that strong current. Got him. Yeah. Once again, oh, he spat the hook. Gee, that's happening a lot today. That's the second one I've had to do that now. Tell you what, the flies and mosquitoes are driving me mad at the moment. When I get back to the car, I'm going to put some air guard on. Here's a bigger one. Yeah, look at this. I saw him come out and grab it. 2 in the one hole. Look at that. Oh, I'm wrapped. He is a lovely brown trout. I actually saw him. He came out from right over the other side. Now, just in case the camera's not picking it up, I'll tell you, I'm right now wetting my hands and I am lifting the fish up, supporting the fish by his stomach. And look at that. That is an absolute cracker of a brown trout. What a beautiful fish. I'm going to get a quick photo of him. Magnificent brown trout taken on the rooster tail. Normally I take photos with my SLR camera, but when I'm filming, I usually use my compact waterproof, I can carry it around in my pocket. Whereas the DSLR's too heavy. And this guy's not hooked too bad, he's out, he's already released. He is going to swim off really, really nicely. Alright. Rightio, fishy. Ah, I am stoked. Rightio, fishy. Ah, I am stoked. What a magnificent trout he was. You little beauty. 2 out of this one little spot. Walking up from down the back, walking upstream, casting upstream, making sure the bladed spinner is turning really well. I've hooked 2 fish in here, lost a little one and caught the big one. I'm as happy as 10 trout that have just been caught by Robbie Alexander on a rooster tail spinner. Happy days. I've got a trout rising just over there. You'll see the rings. The best way to catch him would be with a fly, a dry fly, if you knew what he was feeding on. But there he goes again. What I do know is that there's a trout actively feeding up there, and I think if you are going to cast an artificial lure to a feeding trout, one that's rising, a bladed spinner, particularly one with the feathers on the end of it, such as this rooster tail, is the best. Just because it may just mimic some kind of grasshopper or insect, and there he goes again. The problem I've got, if I walk up too close, I'll spook him. If I cast from down here, I'm likely to hook him on the head. So I might just, actually there's 2 up here. There's 2, so I'll try and cast to the one at the back. Got him! Look at that, there's one. Look at that, there's still one rising, the other one still rose. Can I catch them both? I'm wetting my hand, folks. He's only a small fish, so that's not so important that I put my hand under his stomach to lift him up, because he's not a very heavy fish. But it is important to wet my hand, which I did. Now I'm going to drop him back from around 30 centimetres off the water, and he's happy. And meanwhile, the other fish are still rising. Can I catch them both? Oh, perfect cast, perfect cast. Here comes, got him, yes. Oh, this is a bigger one. Oh, I've caught them both. I've just caught, oh, this is a real good fish. Oh yeah, he's going down the rapids. Now these are the sort of fish where it's very important to swim them when you release them, because this fish is going to have a build-up of lactic acid in his system, because he isn't just getting winched in, he is fighting. He is a very nice brown trout. Have a look at that. I am having an absolute blinder of a day. I've just caught 2 trout out of the one pool by casting to rising fish with a rooster tail bladed spinner. That highlights to me just how amazing these rooster tail spinners really are. He is a gem of a fish. He would be nudging 40 centimetres. I knew it was only a matter of time before I caught a better one. He's got the hooks down a bit deeper than I'd like him to, and there's a little bit of blood, so I want to get him back in the water. I've got it out. I'm not going to worry about any underwater footage. I'm going to get him in and I'm going to swim him. Now these are the sort of fish that you want to swim because they're stressed. Sadly there's quite a bit of blood because he was hooked down deep, but there he goes. Hopefully he'll be okay. The doomsayers will tell you that he's going to die, but I don't think he will. I think he'll be fine. We all bleed and we all heal. He wasn't too badly damaged. Oh, there's another fish rising way up there near where that spinner just landed. Gee whiz, they're rising in this hole for some reason. It's still rising. Quite a solid rise too. Oh, that's in the zone if it spins. Oh, here he comes, he wants it. He wants it, the spinner's not spinning properly. I've got him on a tangled up spinner. I was wiggling it wasn't spinning and doing its job properly, so I was wiggling the rod tip like I would a soft plastic to make it spin properly. Look at how fat that trout is. Mate, you're in great nick, your lip hooked unlike the last poor fella, and you can just go straight back. Thanks for coming. Off he goes. Wow. Sight fishing, sight casting to rising trout. I wouldn't have thought that on such a cool day. Awesome fun. I'm having a ball. Yeah. And you will notice I'm still working my way upstream. I've got 3 trout in this hole now. 2 at the bottom, 1 up there under the tree, and I've still got the fast water to fish yet. Wish me luck. Not going to catch too many trout up there, Robert. Now there's a tip for you. Try and land your lure in the water, not in the tree. I'm going to go from catching that tree to catching that fish in the very next cast. You watch. Can it happen? Can it happen? Can it happen? Can it happen? No. Wishful thinking. Let's talk about one of the most important aspects to lure fishing. Whether it be fishing for Murray cod or trout, if you're lure fishing, possibly the most important aspect is casting. You need to be able to cast. I need to be able to cast the lure up under that tree and into the good part of the hole without the need to walk up there and spook the fish. See that? I've done that with the first cast, and that has come from years of practice. When I was a kid, me and my friend Matt Hancock used to go and stand out the front and cast our lures into a bucket. I still catch trees, don't get me wrong, I just caught one before. But the thing is, the less trees you catch, the more fishing you're doing. In a hole like this, if I flick underarm and catch that tree, I have to walk out into the water and spook all the fish just to get my lure off. So casting underarm is critical. Or just being able to cast in general is critical. Casting underarm is very, very, very valuable. If you can master the underarm cast, you will increase your catch rate in these streams out of sight. Rightio folks, we've got another rising fish in front of us. Awesome. Let's see if I can catch him on the bladed spinner, the rooster tail. Righto. There he goes, out in the middle. Tonight for the first time, round about 6:30. For the first time, he hit it again, got him, no, you got him. Oh, you hit it 4 times. He hit it 4 times. And he still didn't hook up the dopey bastard. He's not hitting it hard enough. Tonight for the first time, just about 6:30. For the first time in history, it's gonna start raining fish. Tell you what folks, it is raining fish on me today, and there's a good one. I saw him come out and grab it. Oh, you beauty. Have a look at that. He is a ripper. It is raining fish today, folks. This is a good 40cm model. Oh, it is raining trout and fat. I'm trying to be gentle with him here. I've wet my hand, so don't growl. I'm not going to squeeze him. Have a look at that, folks. This day is the sort of stuff that dreams are made of. Eh? The sort of stuff that dreams are made of. What a ripper of a fish. An absolute gem. Rightio, he was lip hooked. Let's see if I can film the release. You little beauty! What a ripper! What a ripper! Rightio folks, I'm back at the car. I have just had the best day I've had all season. One of the best days I've had for a long time. I hope you'll learn a few things from this longer YouTube video. Remember the basics. Always walk upstream. Walk up behind each pool, cast ahead of yourself and retrieve your lure. In the case of this video today, it was a bladed spinner with the current, and continue to work your way upstream. I will park my car here like I just have, then walk downstream, and then I'll fish my way back up to the car, always working my way upstream. There are exceptions to the rule where you may have to sneak in at the top of a hole because of dense vegetation or something and cast down, but where possible, always walk upstream, casting ahead of yourself. Try and wear dark coloured clothes. I started off earlier in that brown or grey sort of shirt that I had on. I changed halfway through just to try and give myself some sunscreen, some sun protection, and also I wanted a top pocket to carry a battery in for my high definition video camera and sunglasses. So I changed, but still to a colour that blends into the background. Be nice and slow. Don't charge up to every hole. Just take your time, quietly walk up from the back of the pool, cast ahead of yourself, and remember, don't cast right through the pool with your first cast in case you hook a fish at the top of the hole and distract the entire pool. Just cast a little way up. If you catch a fish, well done, great job. Then you can catch another one at the top of the hole. If you don't catch a fish, you haven't lost anything, you then cast to the top of the hole. Walk upstream, stay pretty well camouflaged, be nice and quiet, approach the hole slow, retrieve your bladed spinner at a speed that you're comfortable with, just so that the blade is spinning nicely. And folks, you just can't go wrong, especially on a day like today. Just quickly, there's a few trout rising, and I suspect they may be starting to take mayflies off the surface. Now, mayflies, but it's not May, I hear you ask. Well, for the folks from the northern hemisphere watching this, you get your mayflies in May, but how ironic, May is the last day of spring for you guys. It's the last day of spring for us, the last month of spring, sorry, for us now, and it's November. Our November is the equivalent to your May in America or England. So that's why we get mayflies in November. You may get November flies in May, I don't know. Anyhow folks, I hope you've liked this video. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe because I've got lots of videos on the way.